Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging hour discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Joe Kuchera, provides you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate. He also offers real estate tax management strategies, new construction advice, home improvement tips, and much, much more. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your host and Real Estate Radio Live team leader, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome in. Good afternoon. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Thank you for spending some time with us this afternoon as we roll through the week here. It is Wednesday, and we are with you 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, from 3 to 4 Pacific Daylight Time. You could tune in. Listen to us a couple different ways. Here are the ways you could listen, interact, and follow Real Estate Radio Live. One, of course, is the live show from 3 to 4 Pacific Daylight Time. You could listen live on your radio at KDOW 1220 AM, the Wall Street Business Network station in the Bay Area. If you'd like to listen live online, you could listen anywhere in the United States, for that matter, anywhere, during this time of the day, and online on the website at kdow.biz. You could click on the big button that says Listen Live, and you can listen to the show that way online. The other way is to, of course, download the podcast, listen to the show anytime you wish at your pleasure, whatever is convenient for you. You can get the podcast a couple different ways. One, you go to iTunes, type in Real Estate Radio Live, type in Real Estate Radio Live in iTunes, and you can get the podcast that way, or you can go to our website, reradiolive.com. You can get the podcast that way as well. We're a live show. We love your calls, interaction. A lot of people call, a lot of people text. So whatever your pleasure. If you want to call us during the live portion of the show, it's 1-800-516-1220. That's 1-800-516-1220. If you want to text during the show, it is 408-838-9060. Now, for those that are listening to this via podcast, give us a call, contact us, text us. Best number, 408-838-9060. Of course, anybody at any time could go to the website, reradiolive.com, to contact us and let us know what you're thinking. All right, so a couple things going on today. The first two segments, I'm going to talk a little bit about. The topic is what to know when seeking a real estate agent or a mortgage online. A week or so ago, I kind of did a similar story, but it was more who to trust. This one is what to know. So I'm going to educate and inform what to know when you go about doing this. When you're searching online and you're really thinking about selecting a real estate agent based on an online search with not knowing them, and if you're online searching for a mortgage, what are the things you need to know? Educate yourself. I want to give you a lot of good feedback on that because there are some really good things going on online. Really are. There's some great opportunities. There's some benefits to being online. The access to information is incredible, and I just love the fact that you could find all this stuff online. However, there's always a but. There is a caveat to these things, and so I'm going to cover that, the things to be careful of, the things to be aware of, and a lot of misleading marketing, and really some shady things going online. So you just have to be careful of that. And that's not exclusive to this industry. That's anywhere. You have to be careful. All right, then segments 3 and 4, I'm going to invite in my guest, Aaron Hendon. He is a top-selling real estate agent and author up in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle. He's done a great job with not only real estate as a great business up there, but also has written a book and doing some great stuff in the real estate market. I like to, from time to time, get a flavor of different markets, especially here in the western part of the United States. So Aaron will be joining us in segments 2 and 3 about 3:30. About 3:30 today. We'll welcome him in. All right, so let's jump in, talk a little bit about what to know when you're seeking a real estate agent or a mortgage online. Let's start with the real estate agents. Most people, just because of the advertising, the years they've been in business and existence, most of us know all about Zillow And if you don't, you've probably been on another surface of another Earth or another planet recently. So Zillow's been around for 10 plus years. They're one of the major leaders in website access to real estate related activity. So they are the number one. They are the number one real estate related website, percentage-wise, to people that access that for more information. I think it goes Zillow, if I'm not mistaken, it goes Zillow, Redfin, realtor.com, and then a couple others follow up. But the top three are Zillow, Redfin, and then realtor.com. So the thing you have to, when you're on Zillow, and this is where most people go, the reason why they go there is because they get an idea of what your house is worth, or maybe they're doing some research on buying a home, so they're looking at different areas, they're entering zip codes and schools and trying to find all kinds of different things by doing your research. You've heard me say before, I'll continue to say, what I love about the online activity is that there's a ton of information out there. You don't have to rely on someone, to wait for someone, to listen to someone's opinion or someone's thoughts. You could go do the research yourself, which I love. Big fan of that. So when it comes time to choose a realtor, okay, and let's say you don't have someone that you have been recommended to, and you're looking at choosing someone online. Here are the things to be careful of, especially specifically with someone like Zillow or Redfin or some of these websites, ladies and gentlemen. You may not know this, but they're called marketplaces and aggregators. What does that mean? What that means is, actually Amazon's pretty much that way. What they are is they're a marketplace for you to go, to interact, to find information, and they're an aggregator, which means they aggregate leads and information for other companies or other entities. So when you're on Zillow's website and all of a sudden you're looking for a home or looking for an area, you're going to see what's going to happen. It's going to pop up on your right-hand side and different places. You're going to see specific real estate agents with their contact numbers. They're going to come up automatically when you search on Zillow with certain areas. Here's the thing to keep in mind. Just because those real estate agents come up doesn't mean, number one, they're the best real estate agents for you. They're the best real estate agents in that specific county or area. It doesn't mean that. Now, they could be very good real estate agents, but there's no guarantee. I just want to inform everyone. So the reason why, there's one or two reasons or a combination of why those real estate agents show up on the front page of Zillow and some of the other ones, Redfin and those. They're showing up for two reasons. One, they're buying their way to the top of the nest. They're buying the way to the top of the list. Okay, that's one way. The other way is a combination of the more reviews you have. So if you're strategically getting reviews on Zillow and Yelp and all these Google and all these places, so the more reviews you have, you're going to show up on a higher on the front page or on the top pages of a lot of these stuff with Zillow. So most of you, again, may know this, but for those that do not, don't automatically assume that those people that are showing up on the front page are the right real estate agents for you, because they may not be. They may not be the right real estate agents for you. Now, they might have a great record. You could do some research. Just click on their name and information, go to their website, find out what they're doing, find out what their listings are, find out what their background is. Always do a Google search on everybody. So anyway, they're up there for one of two reasons, or a combination of. So when you call them or you get that information, just make sure you understand that. Make sure you interview them, do your due diligence, ask around, go to their website, do a Google search, find out what you could, what you could really determine whether they're the right person to work with or not. Okay, here is the other thing to be aware of when seeking out a real estate agent online. And there's nothing wrong with this, but Zillow, Redfin, a lot of these others, when it comes specifically to real estate, and we could throw mortgage in this now because Zillow has mortgage too. So let's combine these two for the moment. So what you're getting is people that are paying their way to the top of the pages, okay, are making their way to the top of pages because of reviews. And then the other thing you're getting is you don't know if it's a lead, if it's a paid lead or not. What concerns me about a lot of these websites is that if you enter information This is the sketchy part that you really have to be careful for. Even if you enter information on Zillow and say, yes, I am thinking about selling my house and it's in this zip code, or yes, I am thinking about buying a house and I'm thinking about this area, and this is my price range. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, you don't know if you're a lead. They're selling you as a lead, or they're selling you to the top of bidders. It's like an auction, right? Zillow gets a lead, and the bells go off, and the people are paying the most money, or the people that paid the money to be in that region in which you filled out, are going to get first crack at you, the lead. So you might have 6, 7, 12, 10 agents calling you right away, emailing you, calling you right away. If they're doing their job, it's a lead, and they're going to call you right away. And they're asking a bunch of questions, which they're supposed to do. All this is legal, but the reason I'm really want to get the information and education out to you is that it's not a system in which you could really feel comfortable trusting right away. Just because you're filling information out, they're getting that information, they're calling you, so there's some due diligence to do over and above that. All right, we're going to take our first break here in a couple seconds. When I come back, I'm going to continue talking about what to know when seeking a real estate agent and a mortgage online. This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Give me a call if you have any questions, 1-800-516-1220. I'll be back with you to continue in just a couple of minutes.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
Hi, this is Joe Kuchera of Real Estate Radio Live. Thanks for tuning into our podcast. We are your go-to resource for all aspects of real estate, including buying, selling, refinancing, building, and legal and tax advice, and much more. You can subscribe to Real Estate Radio Live podcast on iTunes and Stitcher to listen to an engaging discussion about anything and everything real estate. So make sure you get our app, RE Radio Live, in the iTunes store to follow the show.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. We're with you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week from 3 to 4 Pacific Daylight Time. You can tune in at 1220, KDOW 1220 AM. Also, be sure to download the podcast. For those that can't listen to a live show, you can go to iTunes, download the podcast, type in Real Estate Radio Live, or you could go to Real Estate Radio Live, RERadiolive.com. That's our website, and get the podcast that way. All right, we're a live show. So during the live show, if you want to call, check in. If you have any questions, 1-800-516-1220. If you want to text your questions in, 408-838-9060. I see that we have 2 texts. I'll try to get to those before my guest comes on the next segment. So the first 2 segments I was talking about what to know when seeking a real estate agent or a mortgage online. I started that on the first segment. I'll just kind of wrap that up here. Be very, very careful. Most of the time when you fill out information on these sites, you become a lead, and that information, your information, is sold to, in some cases, the highest bidder or the person that bids the most or buys the most or has the most reviews. Not a bad thing, but just understand it doesn't necessarily mean that this real estate agent's going to be the best one for you. Go ahead and interview them, vet them out, and find out if they're going to make sense for you and find out if they meet your needs. The other thing to keep in mind is if you haven't bought a house before, if you don't understand how to navigate through this business, please call someone like myself. Call someone you trust, someone you've been through this before. I'm just being honest with you. There's nothing wrong with certain components of online business. But let me share with you a lot of the stuff and a lot of the people that you might contact online. It's a different business model. It doesn't mean that they're not professional. It doesn't mean that they may not be the right fit. But it's just a different dynamic. You have to be careful about what you're doing because most of the time it's a fishing expedition and they're just trying to get as many leads as they can, which again, nothing wrong with that model. It depends on what you want to be exposed to. The thing that I get concerned about and the message I want to get out to the consumer, call someone like me who has a team of people. Call someone that you could sit down with, you could consult with, you could handpick the professionals. I'll guide you around what you should pay. I'll guide you around what's realistic, what's not realistic. We'll talk about financing. We'll get you the very best deal on title and escrow. That's right. No one else is going to do that. Be aware of those types of things. What I worry about is people that, again, what's amazing to me is a lot of people are misled that just because we have the internet and just because there's hundreds of millions of data-filled information out there on real estate, let's see, all of a sudden, everybody's an expert. You know what the statistics tell us? You know what they tell us? And this is the most educated people around. Statistics tell us that still 70 to 80% of people who go to seek a property, sell or buy a home, still are insecure and need some support with a professional. And these are intelligent people. So my point here is, don't leave it to chance. Don't just put your information out there and see what happens. Now, let's talk a little bit before we cut out on the second side. Let's talk a little about the mortgage side. The mortgage side is probably a little more dicey, honestly, and a little more misleading, and in my mind, a little more untrustworthy than the real estate side because there's so many different websites out there that are flashing mortgage stuff all over the place. Everywhere you go, there's something about a mortgage or a loan. Bankrate.com, Cash Call, Lending Tree. I could go on and on about all these things. Here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. If you're on Bankrate.com, kind of like Zillow, right? They're a great resource for education and information. But other than that, super misleading. They're going to try to get you to fill information out to get a loan with them, which is fine. That's legal. Here's what bothers me. Most of what they do is misleading. Most of what Zillow does is misleading. Most of what all these guys do is what's misleading. Some people are not going to want to hear that. They're going to want to debate me. Fine, I'd love that debate. Call me, email me. I'll have that debate all day long, and I'll back it with statistics and data. The way they get people to call and the way they get people to interact is they have to, it's sad, but it's true, they have to put some kind of misleading bait and switch stuff on the website. They just do. And it's legal if you read the fine print. So be very, very careful about that. And again, when you fill out information trying to get a mortgage on Bankrate.com and Cash Call and all these others, for the most part, ladies and gentlemen, you're not getting employees of these companies. It's not an employee of the company. If you read the fine print, you'll know that. Some of you know that. I've been through this before. I have some good friends of mine that say, Joe, I love the idea of this online stuff, and I love the idea of competing on pricing. But you know what they tell me? What makes me most nervous and why I go back to people I trust? Here's why. Because I don't want to get spammed by 150 people, and they don't know who to trust. And now all of a sudden, 150 people have their name and email. And now they're going to continue to get badgered, pestered, on and on and on. It's a business model. Some people like it. Now, honestly, if you have the time, I'm laughing because I know some people will do this, and you know who I'm talking about if you're listening or watching. Some people have the time to spend hours on the day and call back 20, 30 different people and shop till their heart's desire about trying to get the best rate or best fees or whatever it is. It's funny to me because most of us, if you have a job or a career or a business, there's a little bit of that you could afford, but most of us can't afford that kind of time because it takes away from the income earning potential that we have. Not in all cases, but, it just depends. So be very careful when going to these sites when you're trying to seek a mortgage. I'm in the mortgage business, ladies and gentlemen. I could tell you at least a dozen times a week. I go through a process where a client calls me. We start the process. He says, Joe, I went to SoFi. Joe, I went to bank rate. Joe, I went here. I went there. And they're telling me this and they're telling me that. Let me just tell you, 90% of the time, I bring it to a screeching halt when I say, listen, I understand. Here's what you do. You call them back. You get a loan estimate. It's called an LE. Get a good faith estimate. Get them to put something in writing. Send it to you, and then I'll review it with you. If, in fact, it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If, for some reason, they're telling the truth, I'll tell you if they're telling the truth. I will. That's part of my job. But 95% of the time, when you get something in writing, or really when the rubber hits the road and the reality hits and you get something that they finally deliver to you, it's not what they said verbally. It's just not. I see it all the time. And the reason why is they make these promises because they want to get you hooked. They want to get you in. They want to get the hook. And then when they get you, they figure if they keep you, then they got you. So be very careful. Very, very careful. Most of these websites, again, ladies and gentlemen, are lead generation functions. Be careful when you're filling information out. Understand what you're doing. As always, give me a call. I'm totally objective. I'll tell you which ones I believe in, the ones I don't, the ones to stay away from, and I'm going to guide you in the right direction because that's what me and my team do here at Real Estate Radio Live. That's what we specialize in. So as I wrap up this segment on what to know when shopping online for a real estate agent or a mortgage, just be very, very careful. Be aware of the things we discussed. And if you have any questions, you could always get a hold of me. All right, we're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to invite in our guest, Aaron Hendon. He is from Seattle. He's going to be talking about the real estate market, a little bit about his book, his expertise, and much, much more. 1-800-516-1220. This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. I'll be back with you in just a couple minutes.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
It seems like every business out there is always talking about the newest way to make your life easier. But have you noticed the solutions are always on their time, not yours? At Real Estate Radio Live, we understand your time is valuable and the best resources are those that fit your schedule, your needs, and your financial well-being. You can't always stop your day to find the latest in real estate and finance trends, so we've made it possible for them to come to you. Real Estate Radio Live podcasts are here. That means that all the education information that hits the airwaves 5 days a week is now available 24 hours a day on RERadiolive.com. Plus, get it on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, and TuneIn. It's your time and your money. And now it's your choice when and how to listen. Visit RERadiolive.com and click the podcast button. That's RERadiolive.com.
Real estate broker Cal DRE, NMLS number 6606.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Thank you for joining us. This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. We're with you 5 days a week, Monday through Friday from 3 to 4. We're a live show, and you could tune in if you have any questions for me or my guest, 1-800-516-1220, or you could always text the questions in, 408-838-9060. Most of you know for almost 8 years that have been following the show is that my focus, really my primary objective of this show is to provide you, the consumer, with education and information to allow you to make wise decisions in and around your real estate. Pure and simple. That's what we'll continue to do, and we do that by inviting in great guests that we think that we could add value to our consumer base and here, so we'll continue to do that, content, information. So with that, let me invite my guest in. He is on the phone with us via Seattle, Mr. Aaron Hendon. He is a Seattle realtor, so we're going to get a good, fresh look at the Pacific Northwest. Real estate investor, author, educator, and speaker. He does it all. He's managing partner of Christine and Company up in the Seattle. It was rewarded in Seattle Magazine, and does a tremendous job up there. So we got a lot to chat about. Aaron, good afternoon. Welcome in.
Hey, thanks so much. It's a real pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. It's our pleasure. We always, from time to time, we love to have expert guests, and it's great to have, primarily the listening audience is the Bay Area, Aaron, but, with the podcast, we get thousands of people listening all over the place, which is great. So look forward to chatting with you a little bit. So before we get started on our talking points and some of the things we're going to address today, if you could give the listeners, Aaron, a little bit about your background leading up to the real estate business, and then kind of give us a highlight of your roles and responsibilities on a day-to-day as a real estate.
Yeah, sure. Let's see. I got a long background in history of sales. I have an art degree, which made me eligible to work in food service anywhere in the country, and so I wound up doing that, and I started my own bakery after a stint as a waiter. So I had a bakery, and then went into sales because I figured owning a business is just owning a business is all sales, and wound up in real estate. I've done some investing, but wound up as a residential realtor about 5 years ago, and am currently managing partner of a team, a Keller Williams team of realtors in Seattle. There's about 12 of us on the team. And I just finished my third book. I really do consider myself more of a consultant than a salesperson. I think that's a more accurate version of what it is that a realtor provides when they're doing their job right, is as a consultant role. I love it. I love the opportunity to make a difference with people in the most expensive, impactful transaction of their life. When someone trusts me with that, it's quite an honor.
Great. Well, that is quite an honor, and boy, you're recognized in a lot of different ways here. Let's start by talking a little bit about I for this show and for my business. Aaron, I am a research junkie, and 2 to 3 hours a day I'm collecting data, research for a number of different reasons. One, for my show to stay on top of the industry, and just I enjoy it anyway. So one of the things that I do know is, as you talked about, really being an experienced agent and doing the right thing, upwards about, I know it's in different areas, but nationally, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 10% of the agents do about 90% of the business. So that being the case, I know one of the things I want to hear from you is knowing that the consumer's going, wow, when the consumer knows that, they're going, well, my gosh, that means if I interview 10 agents, there's a chance that maybe one of them could be one of the people, or 2 of them. Doesn't make them, bad people, doesn't make them irresponsible people. It just means that they don't, for some reason, there are a small percentage that do the bigger part of the business. Maybe if you could explain to the listening audience a little bit, what makes that 10% in your mind? I mean, you're there. What makes that 10%, and what should they be looking for, questions to ask, and how do they determine that?
Yeah, great question, Joe, and I think it's a really important one because, the thing you didn't say but is worth saying is that realtors are probably the least trained, least qualified professional there is. And I don't mean to degrade or demean anyone, any of us in the profession already. If you don't know it, it's insane because, the guy that cuts my hair, the person at Sports Clip, the person, the $20 haircut, even my wife's $150 haircut, that person gets 1,000 hours of training to cut hair. And a realtor gets 90. That's nationwide, 150. Texas is the most, 150, but almost every place else is 100 or less.
Amazing.
Hours of training. So it's, yeah, right? It's shocking. So to just pick a realtor because they're in front of you, or because they're your cousin's best friend's nephew, or because, they're at the open house, or they have a lot of stars on their website, or you see a lot of their signs around town, is insane, and yet that's how most people will do it. And you're absolutely right. The Pareto principle applies here as much as it does anything. 80% of the business is always done by 20% of the people, and it is probably 90-10 in real estate. I think people just need to get clear about what their goal is when they're interviewing an agent. So first of all, they got to get committed to interviewing an agent. You can't just pick the first person you meet. Okay, you just got to get out of that mindset of there's no way to tell them apart or they're all the same. You just got to get out of that mindset. They're not. They're not all the same. There is a way to tell them apart. And when you get clear about what you're looking for, you know what to ask. So when you're selling a property, Joe, or your listeners are selling a home, I would bet you dollars to donuts they want the most money in the least time. I don't think there's any mystery about that. So I think the first question you should ask people is, hey, Mr. or Ms. Realtor, tell me about your track record in selling homes for the most money in the least time. How many homes have you sold this year? And how much over asking price did you get? Or what's your percentage? What's your percentage of asking price? And what's your average days on market? And how does that compare to the average in this area? They should be able to, now they won't be able to tell you, but they should be able to tell you that information off the top of their head. But
so those would be, yeah. So that's a good question, Aaron. So those are red flags, right? So there's questions that you would recommend a consumer during an interview process ask, and if they can't answer them, or if they fumble around, then those would be potential red flags. That's the first thing. And the second thing, as you're talking, I'm wondering to myself, here we talk about every day, we hear in the news and realtors and people say, this is the most expensive, most important thing we'll ever do in our life, but yet some people fly by the seat of their pants when making a choice.
70%. 70% of consumers will hire the first realtor they talk to.
Wow, that's a number, huh?
It's unbelievable. I have never been asked that question, by the way. The question I just suggested, the one that makes so much sense, the one that's the most obvious kind of question. Oh, if I want the most money, I should probably ask to see their track record. You know, any realtor could show up at a listing presentation for you with their last 12 months of sales. They could print out the sheets and hand them to you. I do, but anyone could. And if you wanted to, if a consumer wanted to, they could just email all the realtors they want to interview these questions. I have 7 of them in the book that they could interview. They could just have the answers in front of them. It's a way to quantify it. It's so simple. It's remarkable that people don't do it.
So what other questions would you recommend that they ask during an interview process to try to kind of vet through finding out if they're the right candidate? Well,
I think you should find out clearly their track record, right? If you're buying a home in a competitive market, how have you done in the last set of bidding wars, and tell me your track record, whatever. You just want to get their history. I think it's a mistake to not interview references. You know, can I have 3 references? That's a normal, you know, I've had jobs. Joe, you've had jobs. You've had to give references, right? And the employers call those references. That's what happens in a job interview. You call references. You should call the people they did business with. It's one thing to get a whole bunch of stars on a website. It's another thing to talk to someone and say, hey, you used Joe as a realtor. Tell me what worked, what didn't work.
Right.
What do you wish had gone better? Right? Now, obviously, they're only going to give you names of people that are going to speak well of them, right? We know that.
Yep.
But that's no different than any other job interview. It's no different than any other job interview. This is an interview for hiring the person that's going to manage the most expensive thing you ever bought or sold. You should do a real level of due diligence that goes beyond how you choose where to eat dinner, which is the level of due diligence most people do. They look for stars on a website. Oh, look, they got good reviews on Zillow. Oh, look, it has good reviews on Yelp. That's the same level of due diligence. Oh, my brother recommended this restaurant. Oh, my brother recommended this realtor. Same level of due diligence.
Good point. Well, we're going to take a break here in about 30 seconds. We're going to come back and talk to Aaron. So we're talking about real estate, choosing the right real estate agent. Aaron's an expert. He is a top producing agent, but also more importantly, he's more of a consultant we're talking about. He really wants to guide you through the process And if you have any questions for Aaron, 1-800-516-1220 or text 408-838-9060. I'll be back with you to continue in just a couple minutes.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
Ignorance is not always bliss. Hi, this is Joe Kuchera, host of Real Estate Radio Live, and you probably know that information is my primary objective. That is why I wanted to share an important fact. Nearly one-third of Americans are unaware of how much equity they have, and it's a lot. Even though over 90% of homes across the nation are in a positive equity position, Fannie Mae estimates that 32% of homeowners fail to recognize the opportunity. It's like having a savings account that you forget about. The study also cites that 69% of homes have significant equity, greater than 20%. Here in Silicon Valley, where values have risen so drastically, that figure is likely much higher. Wondering how much equity you actually have? Call me and we could chat about your home's current position and the opportunities it presents. Let's make sure you know all of your options. Call 408-838-9060 or email joe@reradiolive.com.
Real estate broker Cal DRE, NMLS number 6606.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Thank you again for joining me this afternoon, spending some time with us. I appreciate that. We're with you 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And just a few minutes with our guest, about 6 or 7 minutes left. If you have any questions for Aaron or for me about the topic today or anything at all, give us a call, 1-800-516-1220, or you could text your questions in 408-838-9060. All right, Aaron, to come back and kind of finish up, before we get to the end here, let me do it now just in case we run out of time, because sometimes we get running quickly towards the end. If anybody wants to know more about what you do, your books, your background, your business, where's the best place to reach you or contact you?
Probably the best place to reach me right now is at rationalrealestate.pro. So Aaron, AARON, at rationalrealestate.pro. And my next book is going to be out in about 2 weeks. I'm collecting emails if people want a free copy of it. I want to get it. I really do want to get it in the hands of people that are buying or selling to be able to tell me if it's useful before I start selling it. So if people are interested in reading it, it's they should just send me an email, Aaron at rationalrealestate.pro, and I'm happy to hook them up with a copy of the book.
Very good. I'll take a copy.
Right. I'll get you one.
Hey, listen, Aaron. So is this book, I just want to make sure, is this book for the consumer, for real estate agents? What would you suggest? Who does it best fit?
It's really for the consumer.
Okay.
I really wrote it from the perspective of educating my clients. It's the kind of information that I give all my clients, and I wish they would know so they knew how to, deal with the most expensive thing they're ever going to buy or sell.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I repeat all the time, I mean, the statistics tell us, Aaron, that 95% of people start their search online, which is great data collection, great information, great education. All that stuff's great. But when they go to decide to choose a realtor, the statistics bear out nearly 90%, almost 9 out of 10 people do want a qualified realtor. So, yes, they're more educated. Yes, they feel better about it. Yes, they're more prepared. But they do still want a qualified realtor. Almost 90% want that. And so that's why it's so important. And what you're talking about, finding that qualified realtor, where do I find them? I just did two segments before you came on how to navigate how to look for a real estate agent and a mortgage online. And because you got to be very, very careful, in my opinion, because It's more of a lot of lead generation. It's a lot of paying to be at the top of the page, or, who's got the most reviews. So you have to be careful. What's your kind of overall sense of, I know the internet and online, there's so many wonderful things about it, but also you have to be careful not to fall into some traps as well.
Yeah, the internet, the internet is great. I've used WebMD, when my kid was sick, or if I had something, I'd use WebMD to check it out, but I don't think it makes me a doctor. And,
right.
So there's a lot you can learn about the process, but I wouldn't, use it as the end all. The whole thing with, Rocket Mortgage and online, I can't even imagine how that's enticing to someone. Yeah, I can't even imagine how that's like a thrill or useful. Like that's going to give them confidence in this process because they can do it in 2 clicks or whatever. I can't even see how that's the largest loan you're ever going to take out. Don't you think you want to talk to someone about your personal situation and everything you have going on, someone you can look in the eye after the transaction, so that the whole thing is insane to me.
Yeah, unfortunately, in my opinion, a lot of it is misleading marketing, and I know it's not illegal, but it's the way they have to market to get eyeballs, to get calls, to get emails, to get information. I understand it.
Totally.
Most of us understand that business, but you're right. It's a very misleading marketing scheme when someone will tell you, don't worry, in 5 minutes you could be approved and get your loan closed in 24 hours or whatever that is. That is so misleading. It's it's kind of embarrassing. So with a couple minutes, we just have 2 minutes left. If you could share with our consumers, kind of as we close this thing out, Aaron, what are someone's out there today listening to this show? They're going, boy, this makes a lot of sense. I see what Aaron means. I really want to make sure I'm choosing the right real estate agent. If you could just summarize maybe the top things to look for and to be careful for before making that decision.
Yeah, good. Well, I would ask to see their track record. I would ask to see every agent you interview's last 12 months of sales. So you want to see their previous 12 months of sales, and it should all be in there. If they give you the sheets, everything should be in there. Days on market, price over asking, all of it should be in there. You can compare apples to apples. I think you'd want to find someone who has a team. Don't hire a solo agent. Hire someone who works as part of a team. There's too many facets of a transaction to expect any agent to do it all unless you're their only client, and I don't think you should hire someone who has you as their only client. So that's another piece of the puzzle. And for sure, interview them. Make sure you're simpatico with them. Make sure that, you do jive with them and that you feel good about them. I'm not saying don't hire someone you feel good about. I'm just saying don't hire someone just because you feel good about them. Right.
Yeah, good point. All right. Unfortunately, we are out of time. We've got to duck out in a couple of seconds. Aaron, I want to thank you for your time. And, 2 things. Send me one of those books, and then once your book comes out,
I absolutely will.
We'll get you on the Joe. Excuse me. We'll have you back. You could tell us a little bit about your book. How's that?
Joe, sounds great. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to your listeners, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. Thanks, sir.
All right. Take care. All the best. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great afternoon. We'll be back with you tomorrow.
Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Tune in, log in, download our podcast. Discover more at RERadiolive.com. RERadiolive.com.